up, y'all? Welcome to Sabrina Talks. I'm Sabrina if you're new. If you're not, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, today on Sabrina Talks, we are going to be talking about Cruel Summer again, and this time we are going to be talking about episodes 5 through 8. If you haven't seen my last video on Cruel Summer, it was on episodes 1 through 4, and I just talked about my thoughts on the show, what I think is happening, and some questions that we have yet to have answered. So I'll be doing the same thing for this video. I'll talk about some of the things that happen in each episode, and then at the end, we'll talk about some questions that we still have, and some predictions that I have for the rest of the show. If you're new to my channel, hi, hello, I'm Sabrina. I like talking about movies and TV shows and music and just all kind of society related things. So if you like that kind of thing, you should stay tuned for more content on my channel because I will be talking about Cruel Summer some more. I'll also be talking about the show Love Victor, Elite, all of the good TV shows that'll be on. I'll probably talk about the new Gossip Girl reboot, so if you like that, you can stay tuned. Also, like I said, I do music related content. Last video I did was an album review for Sour. I've talked about Ariana Grande. So peruse through my channel if you like, and hopefully you find something that you enjoy. Now on to this video today. Let's get right into it and let's talk about episode 5 of Cruel Summer. So in this episode we have the county fair episode, as I like to call it, because we see the gang go to county fair in 93, 94, and 95, and various things happened, and not too much is revealed to us this episode, but I did enjoy this episode. We get more evidence about how much of a dickhead Jamie is, because he tries to tell Kate that she didn't see him kissing when she did actually see him with her own physical eyes, and tries to gaslight her. Like, it's already bad enough that she had to go through all of that trauma and all of her friends and family are kind of not what they were before she got, kidnapped. But for Jamie to use her trauma against her and just kind of say that she's seeing things and making her doubt herself even more, no. We throw him in the trash, because why would you say that to her? No, I don't like that. In my last video, I didn't talk about Angela, I don't think. So I'm going to talk about her because we get to see more of Angela in this episode. I really like Angela. I think she's one of the few characters in this show that I can actually trust. She seems to be genuinely just good, which I'm glad for, because, the portrayal of black people in TV shows can be a little iffy. So they already got me on with Vince. So Angela, I'm happy that they are doing her some justice. In the 94 County Fair, we get more instances of mirrors and mirror imagery, because Kate, Mallory, and Jeanette all go into the little creepy fun house that they have, and that has a bunch of mirrors all over the place. Kate loses Mallory. The two sidekick best friends disappear as well, and it's just kind of Jeanette and Kate stuck in there. Kate gets a vision of Martin, and Jeanette keeps thinking she is running up to Kate, but mirrors. So I can't wait to see why they keep including such mirror imagery everywhere. I think the main juicy part of this episode is in 1993 when they're at the county fair there, and Jeanette goes on a date with that boy named Gideon. I think that's what his name was. But the juicy parts is the fact that, one, we see Kate and Martin kind of flirting, which, ew. But he says that his first impression of Kate was not when he found her drunk. It was when they were at the garden party and he thought she was an adult. And of course, using that phrasing is going to hook a teenage girl, because telling her that when you first saw her, you thought she was an adult, that's obviously going to have a little girl going, oh my god, really? The whole thing is gross. But up to that episode, that was our first inkling that Kate might have had some kind of feelings for Martin before we find out what happens in the later couple of episodes. Keeping on the train of people who are weirdly obsessed with Kate, let's get back to Jeanette, because Jeanette gets called over by Martin because she abandons Gideon when they were at his little arcade game or whatever, which, by the way, Jeanette was absolutely wrong for leaving that boy alone and abandoning him. So Martin technically had every right to scold Jeanette for leaving that boy, because that was rude. We continue to cross over to creepy weirdo behavior, because one, Kate left her scrunchie, and instead of him going, hey Kate, you left your scrunchie, he holds on to it because he's gonna do some creepy nonsense with it, because of course he is. And Jeanette obviously sees that he's holding on to a scrunchie because this man don't got no hair. And so the two weirdos decide they want to fight over who's getting the scrunchie and who's gonna give it to Kate. We both know neither one of these weirdos is gonna give it to Kate. I don't really bash Jeanette like that. I don't hate Jeanette. I know a lot of people hate Jeanette, But like, I can very much call out whenever Jeanette is just being a weirdo. And that moment right there, that was weirdo behavior. I'm sorry. Let's get into episode 6. In episode 6, we get more into Jeanette's kind of like home life. This is, I think, their parents' anniversary episode. I like that in this episode we see that 94 Cindy is getting suspicious of Jeanette because Jeanette does not hide her suspicion very well. She starts going through Jeanette's stuff. She starts complaining to Greg, I think the dad's name is, about how she's suspicious of Jeanette and how she's probably lying about something. She does indeed find out that Jeanette has a key, and then she discovers that the key is to Martin's house. In 93, we also get some more of Jeanette, Mallory, and Vince's like summer bucket list, and we see that one of the items on the bucket list is to steal something. Now, once again, here goes Mallory with the suspicious behavior and also trying to do illegal things. Mallory ends up stealing a couple of shirts with Jeanette, and then Vince tries to take a CD. Of course, he didn't properly prepare for, the stealing aspect of this, but luckily Jeanette goes and takes the fall for him, which is very nice because he is a black child, and back in the 90s, I'm sure they would have had some drama with that. Also, we see Jeanette and Jamie have like a conversation for like the first time. I think they like said hello to each other before, but this was like an actual conversation. And we see that maybe Jamie was even kind of feeling Jeanette even at that point. So that was a nice little background add to like the Jamie and Jeanette storyline. The whole mall incident also kind of backs the, I think, theory or just kind of character trait that I know a lot of people have been talking about with Jeanette, and how she seems to really like the attention she gets from like doing bad things or like doing mischievous things. So that seems to weave some more backstory into Jeanette's character. Also, while Mallory and Jeanette are stealing the shirts from that clothing store, we meet Tennille's mom, Tanya, who at the time in 93 like really flirting with Martin. But that leads us to the storyline in 95 where Tanya's trying to talk to the lawyers and tell them about how she saw Jeanette at Martin's house because once again Jeanette doesn't learn her lesson. Jeanette's trying to steal the CD that I think Vince wanted, which I didn't really catch until my second viewing of that episode, because I was like, why is she even in this house anyways, and why is she looking for a CD? But then I was like, oh, she's trying to get the CD that Vince wanted. But of course she realizes that they're home. She hits one of the stereo buttons, loud music is playing, but thankfully Martin disappears and she opens the door and she was like, you wasn't here, I wasn't here, we don't know anything. And Jeanette gets to disappear into the night. Luckily for Jeanette, she gets to use that whole instance as blackmail to Tanya, because Tanya revealed to Martin, which was a dumb thing to reveal in the first place, but she revealed that who Tennille thinks is her dad is not actually her dad, and she's only using that man for child support, when in fact that's not even his real child. That's wild. And lastly, in 94, we see that Jeanette's dad actually takes up the mom's advice and uses the key to try to see if it'll open Martin's door, and of course it does, and he gets pissed because daughter out here lying and he's out here looking like a fool. But that was episode 6. Now let's move on to a juicy episode, which is episode 7. This is Happy Birthday Kate Wallace. I really like the fact that it mirrors Jeanette's first episode, which was Happy Birthday Jeanette Turner. This episode we really get to see the blossoming of Mallory and Kate's friendship, because it seems like on her birthday in 94 is when she really got to be friends with Mallory. Kate's mom seems to have a feeling that she doesn't trust Mallory, which I also don't trust Mallory, so I can't blame her. But I also don't trust Joy, so... Also in 94, we see that Joy is persistent on trying to get Kate on the Marsha Bailey show. So that was a nice touch to see how she ended up, being on the Marsha Bailey show in that first episode. And we see now that it was all Joy's real doing. We also see that on the news that there was another girl who was coming out saying like, oh, she was almost in that same position Kate was with Martin. And we see that Kate at that time was still like, no, she's lying. Why would she ever say that? Like, Martin was not even into her like that, when we all know that I'm sure that same thing would have happened to that girl. It was nice to see that Kate was still kind of in that manipulated mindset that Martin put her in. I believe that's all that happens in 94. Let's move into 95, because 93 is the juiciest of all of the years. 95, we get more of Kate and Mallory being, best friends and bestest buddies. We get Mallory surprising Kate with a trip to the roller rink and it just being empty. That whole scene in general was definitely giving me queer baiting, was definitely giving me lesbian vibes. Like, everything about that whole situation just seemed very I love this girl, but not as a friend. It's nice to see healthy female friendships, and it's nice to see Kate having a good time because, you know, she's been through a lot. But them whole scenes just seemed real gay, to me at least. Also, after that whole fun roller skating thing, they find out that Kate's mom was the one who put liar on the front door. Kate and Joy have a big intense fight, which I thought was really well done. Like, Joy has some of her points. Like, I can tell she still technically cares for Kate, but at the same time, she's still a terrible mother. Kate had made some valid points. The whole reason she ended up being kidnapped technically and was able to be groomed by Martin is slightly because of her mom, slightly because of the way her mom raised her and all of that jazz, and the way the mom acted, which we'll get to. They ended that whole fight talking about, like, I miss you, which was sweet, but I still don't trust Joy because I don't like any of the actions that she has done throughout this whole series. Also, in 95, we see that Derek and Ashley hooked up, which I thought was cute. I was like, oh, this is a nice moment. Derek's getting some happiness. Him and Ashley work really well together, and I thought they were just a cute either friendship or whether they decided to go into a couple territory. I thought they were just cute together. But now that's all ruined because Derek finds out that Ashley has been secretly talking to Kate, and he finds out all of the juicy, you know, secrets that Kate was keeping, prints it all out, and gives it to Jeanette, which now will be used in court, maybe. That makes me sad because I really did like Ashley and Derek together. I like that whole, like, Romeo and Juliet aspect to, like, both of our families kind of hate each other, but I kind of like you. I really like that, but now that's all ruined, so that's not fun. Now let's move on to 93, which is the juiciest part of this episode, and we get the proof to what most of us believed happened anyways, and that is that Kate packed a bag and willingly went to Martin's house. Now, she does that because everybody in her life is trash. To begin the day, the mom acted snotty and annoying to her at the beginning of her birthday. Then they go to the mall and Jamie decides to drop a promise ring on her. Then Jamie proceeds to get drunk at the mall and spills a bunch of alcohol over Kate's dress. She then has to walk home with him drunk. He goes to go pee at Martin's bush, which makes Martin come outside and offer them a ride home. And just like the county fair scene, we get more of Kate and Martin flirting, which just makes me uncomfortable, especially when she put her hand on his hand. Oh, I was just cringing. Regardless, they say their goodbye. She walks in. Her and Joy have a fight. Because, of course, the mom wasn't already terrible as it is. She starts saying that the daughter is making up lies. And then she proceeds to hit Kate because, as well as verbal abuse, why don't we add physical abuse to this relationship? Of course, Kate's in shock and looks to her dad to say, are you going to say anything? Are you going to stick up for me? Rod's, of course, quiet as can be. So she dips out, which... fair enough. And what's more annoying is the fact that Kate goes upstairs to go, you know, cry and pack her bags because why would she want to stay in the house that somebody just hit her at? The mom comes upstairs talking about, oh, you so pathetic and boring, and of course you crying, of course go run off to one of your little friends, like you're just gonna come back with your tail behind your leg, being even more antagonizing. So when Kate shows up at Martin's doorstep, can we really blame her? Of course she's not gonna go hang out with Jamie. No, that boy's drunk. She's not gonna hang out with her two sidekick best friends because they're not really gonna understand. So who does she go to? Martin's house. We also get a little bit of flashback of her time being in kidnap mode. We can see her issues with eating because she used to not want to eat whatever Martin was giving her. And then we see the fact that she does eat, and we get the creepy line from Martin talking about, and I'm the one who prepares your food. Like, sir, did you poison this food again? Like, oh, that man really pisses me off. But I mentioned that scene because we get another instance of mirror imagery, because we see Kate, but the focus is kind of on Martin behind her and the reflections of Martin through that mirror. So once again, we're getting into that mirror in the basement. Also in 93, we see Martin being the typical abuser and telling Kate while she was trapped in the basement that nobody was looking for her, nobody cares about her, and that Jeanette is now dating Jamie. Him telling Kate that kind of leads us to believe that maybe he was the one feeding her this information that Jeanette took over her life. And maybe that's why Kate has like a hatred for Jeanette. So maybe we'll see some more of the things that he was feeding to Kate while she was trapped. In episode 8, we kind of get the like first day back at school episode. But this episode really just makes me stand by my statement about how Vincent is the best character on this show. Everything he did in this episode was top notch. In 94, we see him being supportive to Jeanette on the first day back after all these rumors been circulating. We see him set Jamie straight and be like, no, you don't get to talk about her or worry about her no more because you dropped her on the dime and you punched her in the face. You don't get to worry about her no more. You can't talk to her. Don't even look at her, which I loved. We also get to see him and Ben's like blossoming relationship in 93, which was so cute. And then we get our heart broken back in 94 again once we realize that Ben gets his shoulder hurt because Jamie decided he wanted to drive drunk. And they have a little moment, but Ben's like, "Ooh, I'm not ready to be out like this yet." And that just kind of breaks my heart on all accounts. We also see in 93 how Jeanette and Mallory ended up not being friends anymore, which I thought was fantastic because it really fits both of their characters. Mallory fulfills the last bucket list item on their list, which was a prank video that they were going to showcase to the school or whatever. And Jeanette and Vince were supposed to be on lookout duty, but Vince went to go talk to Ben because that... Also, once again, that whole interaction was just incredibly cute because Ben came up and was like, "Hey." And he was like, "Hey." And then they made some eyes at each other. And then Vincent, being just the utmost adorable man that he is, decides as a pickup line or as a let's continue this conversation line, he says, "Didn't your mom die?" It's like, sir, that was not the way to keep this conversation going, but it worked in hindsight, so there's that. But back to Jeanette on the lookout. She, hides because she thinks somebody's coming, which was accurate. Kate's mom ended up coming, but then decides to follow Kate's mom and be nosy and listen to what she has to say. Now listen, I am a nosy person. I like stumbling upon drama that don't got nothing to do with me. I think it's fun to just kind of listen to other people's conversation and just not do anything with that information. But what I'm not gonna do is follow somebody's mom into the assistant principal's office and spy on what they got to hear and be all giddy about that information that she finds out. Once again, Jeanette giving us more instances of where she just acts like a weirdo. But in that conversation with Martin and Joy, they have that annoying scene where she's like, maybe I should go involve the cops. And he's like, no, don't do that. But then he was like, well, you wanted to do things privately and quietly, and getting the cops involved is not the right thing to do. And of course Joy's like, oh, well, see, this is so why I came to you first. Thank you so much. Like, ma'am, this teacher just told you not to go to the cops. Now, if he said don't go to the cops because it's only been one night, I'm sure she'll pop up tomorrow. Sure, that's not suspicious. But to go, oh, maybe you shouldn't go to the cops because we don't want them thinking that you're neglecting her. Joy leaves Martin feeling, I guess, better about the whole situation. And once again, Jeanette and her weird self decides to follow Joy and goes, hey, I'm Kate's friend. If you need anything, I'm here for you. All with a big smile on her face. Ma'am, why? Now, Joy says this and it comes off very rude. But to be honest, what could she possibly need you for? She does not know that you know that Kate's missing. So why would you say that to her? But then we get the scene of Mallory, Jeanette, and Vince because Mallory got caught, obviously, and now has detention, which it's just detention. It's really not that big of a deal. At least you didn't get expelled. But whatever, she's upset, yells at Vince and Jeanette. And Jeanette's all excited because she's like, I got news about Kate. Ma'am, that's not exciting news to go tell off to your friends. But anyways, what gets me upset about this scene is the fact that Mallory easily dismisses Vince's excuse. Now, we all know that Vince was out here getting his flirt on. But he just says, oh, somebody came around the corner and I almost got caught. So she's like, sure, fine. But whenever Jeanette tries to say anything, she automatically disbelieves her. Jeanette, not wanting to answer why she was not there, puts it back onto her and says, you abandoned us, you're so bossy, why would I ever want to be friends with you? And we get the best line from Jeanette, because Mallory was like, so you don't want to be friends with me and Vince anymore? And Jeanette goes, I ain't saying nothing about Vince. That really had me dying laughing because, dang. I sort of feel bad for Mallory because, that's sad to hear. But at the same time, with the way she be acting with Jeanette, she definitely should have expected that. In 95, we finally get to see Jeanette and Cindy interacting. Cindy, gives her a gift and was like, are you sure about this lawsuit? Because this is a no-win situation. And Jeanette once again gets upset with her mom and was like, well, you're the one who left me. Now, Jeanette technically has a reason to be upset. Sure, but Cindy is absolutely right in her saying that this is a no-win situation Because if Jeanette wins this lawsuit, now she has everyone believing that Kate is not true to her word and that maybe not all of the things that happened to Kate actually happened. And that's not a good look. But if she loses, now everyone's thinking that she put a kidnapped victim through all this trauma again, and then everybody still believes that she didn't help Kate. So either way, not winning. Also in 95, we get Jamie and Jeanette interacting for the first time in a while. The last time we saw him in 95 with Jeanette is him creepily stalking her house. I think it was nice that he apologized. He's still, once again, a dickhead. I still don't like him. But at least he apologized and, gave the girls something. We also find out that he has a tape recorder of a voicemail that he got that is very creepy, that was on, I think, Christmas Eve or something, and there's a lullaby playing and somebody heavy breathing. That spooks Jeanette and makes her go to Mallory's house, and Mallory was like, I don't have the snow globe. Why would I have that snow globe? The snow globe's not important. And then of course we get to see her in her room with said snow globe, and then the episode ends. So we don't know what's going on with this snow globe. I can guarantee you it's not going to help Jeanette. But we'll see what happens. Jumping back to 93, we also get Jamie and Jeanette interacting again, and he kind of does some flirtatious, like, oh, your smile is so pretty, without your braces, like, congrats and whatever. And the weirdo herself decides to go, oh, I heard Kate's missing. And he's like, what? She was like, yeah, I heard Kate's missing. And she's like, well, since you're the boyfriend, they always go to the boyfriend first, so I figured I'd give you a heads up. Meanwhile, she's just smiling throughout this whole interaction. Like, why would you be smiling telling this boy that his girlfriend has gone missing? And not just missing from school, but like missing in general. I very much would like to believe that Jeanette is telling the truth. But all these instances of her just being a weirdo is not helping her. With the prank video that Mallory did, we see that she recorded Mr. Harris. To our knowledge, she doesn't realize that Kate is in the frame because Martin obviously takes the video and watches it to make sure he didn't get caught, which he technically did because you see a figure that looks like Kate in the window, but that's not helping nobody because he obviously smashes the video. So that's really just kind of more for us. But I wonder if when Mallory was editing this video, if she caught that and just didn't pay no attention to it. But that's all the episodes that we have seen as of right now. Let's get into some questions and predictions. First of all, I'm going to talk about some of the questions that I had in my last video that we still don't have answers to. One, we still don't know who the heck Annabelle is. We also still don't know what the heck happened that time in December where Kate says she saw Jeanette. We also still don't know what happened the day she got rescued. And we still don't know about that gunshot that happened in 94 with Jamie, Jeanette, and Vince. Some of the new questions that we have based on these past couple of episodes is, what the heck is that voicemail? Who left it? Who's involved with that voicemail? What it got to do with the snow globe? We also don't know what made this situation into a kidnapping. Also, a question that I have is whether or not Jeanette will actually be able to use those chat room logs in court, because they didn't really obtain that legally. The next thing I want to talk about is some of the predictions that I have and what I actually kind of want from these last two episodes of the show. Personally, I want this case to be dismissed. I don't see how this is ending in a place where Jeanette wins or in a place where Kate wins, because the way this show is already going on, I can't imagine that one Freeform would go, yeah, we've been talking about how this girl has been groomed and she's been abused and all of that, but we're going to end the show with Jeanette saying, this girl's a liar and you can't believe her because X, Y, Z. I don't imagine Freeform is going to say this is the best way to end the show, but I also don't really see Kate winning this, because though we have enough suspicion as to maybe Jeanette did actually see Kate and just didn't say anything, but the way Jeanette acts throughout this whole entire series does not give me enough belief that she did actually see Kate. Because why would she go through all of this nonsense if she did actually see her? Yes, Jeanette is a liar. Yes, Jeanette has some weirdo behavior. I don't believe she will go through all of the trouble of getting a lawyer and dealing with people hating her if she knew for a fact she saw her. So I'm really hoping that they just, close the case and leave it at that. What makes me really hope that they do that is in the preview for next week's episode, which is episode 9, they have a shot where Jeanette and Kate are screaming at each other and arguing. That means for the first time they are going to be interacting with each other, which I'm so excited to see. And I'm hoping during that time they're going to yell at each other, argue at each other, and then they're going to, reveal some things, and then they're both going to decide, you know what, let's just drop this, because clearly we both got secrets that we was trying to hide and we don't want out, so we're just gonna leave it at that and end it there. I mean, I don't know if that's gonna be a satisfying ending, but at least no one's out here claiming that the person who got abused is lying. Mallory still has yet to talk to the lawyers, at least to our knowledge. So I'm curious if we'll get to see that. Hopefully we will, because Mallory, at least in like 93, is still way too suspicious for me for her to just disappear and not have like any involvement with this whole situation. So hopefully next episode we'll see her talking to like the lawyers and we'll get some more information about what the heck she possibly knows. I also don't fully believe we know all the things that happened to Ben, because we know Ben got hurt in the accident that Jamie caused, but that doesn't explain as to why he doesn't take Vince's calls in 95. So something else had to have happened either with Vince or with Ben to make them not talk anymore in 95. So we'll see what happens there. I'm hoping we get like a penultimate episode where like episode 9 is really the big juicy one, and then episode 10 just kind of is filling out loose thread. But yeah guys, that about wraps up my video for today guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like down below. Talk to me in the comments. Tell me your thoughts on Cruel Summer. Let me know whose side you're on, whether you're on Kate's side or Jeanette's side. I'm more in the middle. I think Kate is probably lying and also telling the truth, but I also think Jeanette is probably lying but also telling the truth. So let's talk about it in the comments down below. Tell me who's your favorite character. Mine's obviously Vince. You can also talk to me on my social media at Sabrina Talks 2 on Instagram and Twitter. On Twitter, I'll be live tweeting while I watch the episodes when they come on Tuesdays. So if you would like to live tweet with me and interact with me there, you can follow me on Twitter. You can also follow me on TikTok at Sabrina Talks 2U. If you like this kind of content, I think you should subscribe to my channel, because I will be giving you more Cruel Summer once this season is over. It's Pride Month once again, so I'll be talking about shows like Elite and Love Victor, and then it's also Black Music Month, so I'll be highlighting some Black music. Once again, thank you so much for watching. As always, please remember to be safe, be smart, be kind, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye guys.